In a world where the shadows whisper and fear hides behind every silence, you've just stepped into the dark side of storytelling. Welcome to Hauntly, the home of true horror and twisted tales from reality and beyond. If you love the thrill of mystery and the chill that crawls down your spine, then don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell, and like this video to keep the nightmares alive. Now, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's begin our story. In the year 1888, deep in the heart of the Victorian era, the Eldridge family stood before their new home in the cold countryside of Yorkshire. Oakwood Manor was not just an old house. It had been an abandoned mansion for over half a century, deserted abruptly by the Blackwood family under mysterious circumstances. The local villagers avoided approaching it, circulating whispers about a vow that was never kept and a divine punishment that befell its former owners. Mr. Edward Eldridge purchased the mansion for a song, ignoring the warnings and determined to restore it. His wife, Eleanor, a woman of deep sensitivity, constantly felt an unnatural coldness in the atmosphere, even on summer days, and the sense of eyes following her from the dark corners. The events began a few weeks later. In the dead of night, Edward would wake up to a faint crying sound coming from the upper floor, where the abandoned servants' quarters were located. The sound resembled the weeping of a small child, but it was accompanied by a strange clanking or scraping, as if something heavy were dragging a chain across the wooden floors. Every time he went to check, the sound would abruptly cease, and he would find nothing but dust and darkness. But the true horror appeared in the mansion's large library. Eleanor spent her time there supervising the cleaning of the antique books. She noticed a bizarre pattern. No matter how meticulously she arranged the books on the shelves, the next morning she would always find a single book fallen on the floor, open to a specific page. This page invariably featured an old sketch, a drawing of a small, tattered child holding an old, heavily corroded key. During one stormy night, Edward was awakened by his wife's terrified scream. He found her standing in the hallway, pointing with a trembling hand toward the ancient fireplace. On the hearthstone, small, wet handprints had appeared, as if a child had placed their hands on the cold stone and vanished. Worse, Eleanor was clutching a piece of old, torn cloth that she had found snagged in her wardrobe. The moment Edward touched the cloth, a sharp smell of decay emanated from it, and they both heard a distinct, nearby whisper that seemed to come from the very walls of the house. The vow must be claimed. Find the key. They realized that the Blackwood family's child had died in the home, and its spirit was trapped because of a vow that was never fulfilled. They frantically searched the mansion until they reached the dark cellar. There, hidden behind a crumbling wall, they found a small, locked wooden cabinet. Eleanor used the key, the exact one depicted in the book, which she suddenly found in her skirt pocket, to open the cabinet. Inside, they found no treasures but an old diary belonging to Mrs. Blackwood and a worn-out child's doll tied with a rusty chain. The diary contained the horrific conclusion: "My child is dead, but I vowed to his soul that I would never leave this house. I broke my promise and left him here alone. He is now demanding any price to fulfill the covenant." As soon as the diary and the doll were removed from the cabinet, all sounds suddenly stopped. The entire house seemed to let out a cold sigh before an absolute silence reigned. The couple believed the curse was broken. But the next morning, Edward found his wife Eleanor sitting on the cold floor of the hallway. She was holding the worn-out doll and staring blankly into space. When he spoke to her, she did not respond. She had lost her ability to speak. Both of her hands were smeared with cold blood, and in her palm she tightly grasped the old key. On her arm she had scratched a single phrase: "The vow is mine." Edward never fled the mansion. His wife, Eleanor, was now the new vow. She became the new hostage of the child's spirit, and the story became just another chilling tale whispered by the people of Yorkshire about Oakwood Manor and the new Eldridge family who never leave the house anymore.